Okay. Soon, pretty soon or later, it's going to give me the indication the recorder is on. Let me check another part. Okay, there we go. All right. I'd like to bid a shalom to everyone who's attending with us in this Google Meet session. For we are the family of Yah. This is not dealing with a clique, organization, camp, church, religion, or denomination. This is dealing with us coming together. For we have learned through the word that the family of Yah, which are the children of Yah, are spread throughout the four corners of the earth. And this would unite us because we bear the promised seed that dwell in our bowels. Okay. For those who would like to attend and fellowship with us, we meet on Saturdays, usually around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the first hour to hour and a half, we have a time where we fellowship and get to know one another, so that way we have support as a family does when you need to reach out and receive ministry unto. Okay. Sometimes we have to connect or socialize so our bowels can be refreshed, as Paul say, as we going through this world of darkness. Okay. So far as the title of our group meetings, okay, I say group meetings again, we are a family, is dealing with Yahuwah's calendar and his mysteries. And we have been learning for the past few weeks that by studying his calendar, you would get a greater understanding of the biblical prophecies that will also lead to his mysteries. His mysteries will be revealed. So we are continuing studying the sun and Mazzaroth. Now we have just finished studying about the moon as far as looking at how to number your calendar, how to set your calendar up. So we have done that in the past few weeks. So today we're focusing on how to number your calendar for the sun. Okay, that's one of the lights that I see a lot of Israelites do not incorporate in their calendar. However, when we read Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, it said that these lights that are given in the heaven, which are the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth. Mazzaroth is the Hebrew word for the 12 signs that the Gentiles call the zodiac. So with these three lights, they are to give us what? Seasons, days, years, and signs. Okay. So by studying these lights, it's very important that on your calendar, you should have a representation of all three lights. And that's one of the things that I did find amongst the Israelites as well amongst the Gentiles that they don't include in their calendar. However, when you read the Dead Sea Scrolls, you will see that our people did keep up with the days of the moon and the days of the sun. Also, you will learn through the Bible, which is the 1611 Bible that you see here that's in my hand. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. That you will see that not only our people keep up with their time, which is the fall calendar, they also kept up with the heathen time, so you can see how things line up. And we've been talking about some sacred things about dates, because last night we just shared with y'all the date of the Most High final judgment. We have a date. Also, we also have a date when the Messiah came, um, as far as when he set the captives free from Sheol, that the prophet Hosea talks about in chapter 6, verse 1 through 3, when he went to the center of the earth. Okay, we have a date on that. So these are the sacred things that the Father wants you to know now, because we really don't have long, y'all. Soon the end will be here and the new beginning will come forth, and the wicked will have their day. See, they don't think this day is coming, but those who stay in the word and allow the spirit of truth to teach them all things, we will know these things. However, the wicked will be deceived by the principalities who are the fallen angels. Okay. So again, to understand the truth of what's coming and to understand our Father, okay, on how he does things, what are his ways and what are his thoughts, you got to stay in the book, as well as the other sacred books that he gave the masses to read. Check the video description box for the link of all the books that he gave the masses to read. The Jews of Ethiopia, who are also called Phalasha, which means strangers, has a record of all the books before the Roman Catholics or the Roman Christians, and before the Protestants took it out. Okay, so now we're going to pick up where we had just finished talking. We're looking at the sun and Mazzaroth and how to go about to observe and when to know when the sun enter into each sign. Okay. So what I gave this two example about the heavens, because in this article, let me go to the article that you see presented in the tab. Okay. I was reading the questions here, and he said, what is the zodiac and does it help you predict the future? He said no. And I'm glad he put that, because let's see here. I'm going to take this off the screen. I'm glad he put that there, because it really let us know that he's not looking at horoscopes. Okay, remember that's astrology. There's a difference between astrology and astronomy. However, sometimes you see the two being mixed together. Okay, but I'm glad he put that there. However, for as the Hebrews are concerned with the heavens, when we go back to Genesis 1:14, he said that there would be signs unto us. And what he means by that, the heaven is his billboard. And what happens is the heavens manifest the sign. And one of the signs that we are aware of is dealing with Revelation 12. And I believe it's Isaiah chapter 65 or Isaiah chapter 66. We was dealing with the virgin, or the woman who appeared in the heaven, and the 12 stars above her head. Now we can see how the heaven manifests that sign and how the earth played it out, and it's still ongoing to this day. Okay, we can see that. The second sign that I had just gave to the group is dealing with the work of Josephus. One of the signs, because there was many signs that he gave unto the Israelites, that the destruction of Yahusha'The is coming, and that was a sword that was displayed in the heavens. You can find that in the Book of Wars, Book 6, Chapter 5. Okay, and I'm going to type that out so my group will have it as well. Okay, you're going to see in Wards, it's going to be in Book 6, Chapter 5, and it's going to start in, let's see what number. Okay, it's going to start in number 289. Where's my number sign? 289, page 742. That's something you can read in your spare time. Okay, so this comes from my work of Josephus. So I'm just going to give you the prayer form version of this sword. So the Father displayed the sword. Now keep in mind, when he did these signs, it wasn't right before when it happened. When you understand how Father ways, sometimes these signs that he gave unto them could have been 40 years or 5 years or 3 years or 7 years. Okay, this is the way of our Father. He always give those plenty of time to prepare what is coming. Okay, and that's just one of the things that the wicked don't understand. They think because so many thousand years have passed, they think he's not going to do anything because he's silent. Well, that's not true. All right, he has a way of setting you up where you're going to hang yourself. Okay, so I mean, I'm talking about for the wicked. Now for those who are his, we understand why he does what he does, because it's about saving those who belong to him. But for the wicked, they take his silence as he don't care. We can do as we want. That's the thinking of the wicked. So when he manifests this sign of the sword in the heavens, they knew it was a sign of destruction coming to Jerusalem. So as we can see, the heaven manifests the signs, and then the earth play it out. Okay, so when we look at this question here that he wrote, he's correct as far as not looking at it as a way of horoscopes. Okay, but we do know as Israelites that the heaven is a billboard, and the Father give us messages, okay, to let us know what was, what is, and what's yet to come. It also let us know about when to sow the seed. Okay, it also let us know when to harvest. Do you see this? The heavens also let us know when are his holy days and his holy feast days, such as the new moons, the Sabbaths, Peshat, known as Feast of Leavened Bread. Shavuot, known as Pentecost. Feast of Trumpets. Then you have Atonement. All right, in the time of atonement, then you have if it's the 7 years, Shemitah. Then also, if it's the 50th year, you have Jubilee. Then we have the Feast of Tabernacles. I'm just giving y'all the highlights. There's many other things that the Israelite kept, because when you read Numbers chapter 10, he said what? Blow the shofar in the days of your gladness, in the days of your remembrance. Okay. This is where Purim come in the days of Esther. Then we have Hanukkah, which is the Feast of Dedication. But you would learn it actually was in Torah, but it was at different times, depending on when the tent tabernacle was built, depending on when Solomon built the temple, and depending on when the temple had to be re-cleansed and rededicated back to the Father. Okay, so that's also known as the Feast of Lights. So this is why we keep these things, to remind us. Okay, I want to go back to the screen here to remind us that of the messages, so we too can follow the ways of our ancestors who walked in righteousness. Okay, now we're going back to the tab with the astrology notes. Okay, so now that you have that, now let us look at this article. For today, we're going to break this up in two parts. We're going to read part of this article today and break it down so y'all can take notes. And then on the next time we meet, we'll come with part 2. Okay? So the other question, we start from the beginning. How does the sun appear to move over the course of a year? What defines the seasons? What causes the seasons? What is really going on? Does the earth move or does the sun move? So I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. We know what the Gentiles say, but we also know what the prophets of Yah say. So there will be some disagreement with that as far as what moves. We know that the heavens does move around the earth. Okay, everything is centered around the earth. We know that the moon moves around the earth, and we know the sun also moves around the earth because it has its own circuit. So that would be a area that would be a debatable topic when we're dealing with the Gentiles' doctrines. Okay, however, to end that for yourself, just go back to his prophets, such as Enoch. Okay, Enoch was given the understanding of the heavens, so go back to him. See here, and you're probably asking, why am I reading an article that's more than that may be written by a Gentile? I'm assuming it's by a Gentile. Unfortunately, I have not seen any Israelite able to break this down, able to share information with us. So in this lesson, we have to chew the meat and spit out the bones. Okay, unfortunately, I cannot say all Israelites that have not met every single Israelite, but the ones that we know of, they don't really take the time to do a deep study on the Most High calendar and looking at the 3 lights and how to go about to observe it. Because remember, before technology, before paper calendars, before watches that we wear on our wrists, our people used the heavens to tell time. They also used the heavens for navigation. Israelites and Gentiles did this, but the Israelites was given the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding from Yah himself. Okay, so in other words, we had the complete puzzle here when it came to that. So this is why I don't understand why there's not Israelites teaching y'all or showing y'all how to go about to do this. Because now that we have the Israelites spread throughout the 4 corners of the earth, okay, we now see everything is on a worldwide level. So because it's on a worldwide level, we should all be observing the heavens together from where we are, so we can compare notes. All right. Then the next question is, what is the zodiac and does it help you predict the future? What are the phases of the moon? What causes tide and what are eclipses? So I just found this was a pretty good article. I'm not saying everything in the article is correct, but it'll build your foundation in understanding the heavens. Okay. And this comes from, I'm trying to see, I know it comes from a university, but I just don't have the name of that university yet. But let us read. Okay, so let's start in the first paragraph. I'm going to scroll down and see where we're going to stop at. Because unfortunately, I don't have my hard copy where I can see where I want to go at, y'all. So just bear with me. Oh, yeah, and I love how this talk about solar versus sidereal. Because sidereal will lead you into the 13th constellation. However, the Father told us we are to follow the 12 star constellation. Okay. Okay. So we'll probably, if I can get to that part that tells you about how you review the sun in the zodiac constellation, that's where we'll stop at today. So let us start reading. And for my good group, remember, you have any question concern, please come in. Okay. Once people find out how the stars moved or thought they did, they could turn their attention to the next object, the sun. Unfortunately, its motion isn't easy to understand. The sun path varies over the course of the year. Sometimes it rises in the northeast. Now you want to, so those who have a hard copy, you want to underline this and you're going to see why. Because when we get to Peshat, which is Passover, and we get to Feast of Tabernacles, you're going to learn that the sun reset itself. It's just like a clock. It's going to reset itself on the east point. Okay. So what this author is saying, that sometimes he noticed the sun rises in the northeast. And then at other times, he noticed that it rises in the southeast. This is very important to know because the sun only do this in a certain season. It is going to be in the summer season, which we would say spring and summer, or it's going to be in the winter season, which we know is fall and winter. Okay. Only on 2 days does it rise directly in the east and set directly in the west. So what are those 2 days that the sun does this, y'all? It's going to rise directly in the east and directly in the west. In the sun circuit, now we know we have about 365 and a quarter to 366 days in a sun circuit. So out of those days, only 2 days of it does the sun directly rise on the east point, and then it directly go down on the west point. That's another thing you want to underline. What are these 2 days? And he ought to give you the answer. What the Gentile call is the equinox. This is when the sun does this. Okay. And this is why we have what? Equal amounts of daylight to equal amount of night. 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours at night. However, because of the earthquakes, the earth has shifted. Even the Most High has said that the earth is out of alignment with the heavens. So when we get to the equinox day, we have the sun could be, we can have like 12 hours and 10 minutes of daylight. So if we have that, then we will have 11 hours and 50 minutes of night because the earth is out of alignment. Again, that is another sign unto us, especially to you Israelites, because the Father is saying and showing through you, through his creations. He said, look, the earth is mourning or showing or manifesting herself unto you, Israelites, to let you know you're not in your proper place. That's one of the signs. Go back to Genesis 1:14. Now we're seeing how these lights is so important to understand biblical prophecy. Okay. It's so important to understand, to let us know things are out of order, because for those who believe that the Jewish people are the people, and in the Hebrew tongue we call them YAHAD. YAHAD. Okay. Let me spell that word for y'all so y'all have it. YAHAD. And it's found in the book of Esther. So it's in the Strong Concordance, and it's also, okay, it's in the Strong Concordance. It's in the Hebrew text. Okay, it's in the Hebrew text. Those are for, it means converts or Jewish. So we know that the Jewish people claim they are the people and they are in the Holy Land. That's what they claim, right? So if that is the case, why is the earth still out of alignment? Because if they were restored back to their proper place, these things would come back in line. Do y'all see now how, again, studying the calendar and paying attention to the heavens and the earth, we can see the signs. This is how we know what is fulfilled and what is not fulfilled. Okay, let us go back to the other screen. Okay, so the article goes on to say these special days are known as the equinoxes. To give you their full names, they are known as the vernal equinox. Okay, that's your spring equinox. Now he give you an estimated date of this. The estimated date is March 21st. However, for those who've been keeping a record of the Most High calendar, you know that can vary. It can be March 20th to the 23rd. It all depends on the heavens. Okay. Then he said the second equinox is known as the autumn equinox, and this is the fall. And he'll give you an estimated date is around September 21st. However, again, for those who have been absorbing the heavens, you will notice that it does vary from year to year. It can be from the 20th to the 23rd, depending on what the heavens say. You may recognize these dates as beginnings of the season of spring and autumn. These dates, the equinoxes, have nothing to do with the weather. Y'all hear that? They have nothing to do with the weather according to what they research. They have to do with the location of the sun relative to the celestial equator. So let me see what he's talking about here. Let me see if we got a picture. Celestial equator. When you hear the word celestial equator, it's talking about the heavens. So in the heavens, now this is not dealing with earth, there is a midpoint somewhere in the heavens, okay, that has a circuit right here that lets you know what is the equator. See this diagram, okay? So it's dealing with, let me go back up, the location of the sun, okay, relative to the celestial equator. So wherever the position of the sun is to the equator, imagine the sun somewhere out here. So it's dealing with the position of the sun to this celestial or heavenly equator. Just like the earth has the equator that goes around the center, so also the heavens. Okay? That's why we look at the equinox. It gives us the idea of the location of the sun in the heavens. That's a short way to say this. It gives us the location of the suns in the heavens. Okay? For the second paragraph. Now for the rest of the year, the sun path and its rising and setting locations vary, which is very true. This is what Enoch talk about, that how the sun would rise and set in these gates. Remember how you talk about the gates? And it would do this for so many days. The most days could be 30 to 31 days when you read the first book. But when you observe the heavens, you will know there is a slight variation when we look at spring and summer. We notice that it would give us an extra day sometimes. Okay. And then when we get to fall and winter, especially in the winter, we notice that it would be short in the day. I have seen, I think, 28 or 29 days, which makes sense because if the Father's giving an extra day in the spring and summertime to what? To harvest so we can prepare for winter, it would make sense why the days would be fewer of the sun in the winter because you can only have 365 in a quarter or 366 days in the sun year. Talking about the sun year now. Okay. So this is why you see the sun rising and setting in different locations in the heavens throughout the year. Again, remember, a lot of this depends on the location of the sun in the heavens, okay, which would determine whether it will rise or set either northeast or southeast. It'll also give you an idea about what season we're in. And unfortunately, I have not taken the time out to identify when it rises in southeast, what it means is it in the summer, spring, or winter, or fall. Okay. So that's going to be another thing on my list to add when I meet with y'all again. So you have that information. So to help you when you observe the heaven, it is good to go out there either with a good camera or hopefully you got a good phone to take pictures and have a landmark so you know where the sun rises and set and observe for on a daily basis and compare throughout the year. Okay. And pretty soon you become like a pro and you won't need no one to tell you what season you are in or what day of the year you are in. Okay? All right. As seen from during the winter, the sun rises in the southeast and sets in the southwest. So this is an hour. This is an hour in the state of hour. During the winter time, they can see the sun rises in the southeast and then it's going to set in southwest. Now, where I'm at, let me show y'all me. Where I'm at, I got to turn on my side because I'm between the east point right here and the west point is behind me. Okay. So when it says southeast, my south is to my right hand side. Okay. Then north is going to be to my left hand side. All right. So it would say in the state of hour, the sun is going to rise in their winter season southeast over here. Okay. Somewhere in the southeast. Remember, east point going to be in the middle. So southeast going to be somewhere over here to my right. Okay. To my right. Then it's going to say that the sun is going to set in the southwest. This is in their winter time. So it's going to be on my right hand side, but behind me, but still in the south direction on the right. Do y'all see that now? Like I said, when you know these things, you get an idea what season you are in. Okay. Let me see where we at. In the summertime, it rises in northeast and set in northwest. So this is in the state of hour, which is in the country of or land of America. Okay. So in their summertime, it's going to rises in northeast and set in northwest. And this may be the main format for most of the states, y'all. But you still have to check in your state area. So we have an example with the state of hour that in the wintertime, the sun rises and the sun rises in southeast and set in southwest. In the summertime, the sun is going to rise in northeast and set in the northwest. This is very interesting to know. There are 2 days when the rising and the setting location are at their most extreme, furthest north or furthest south. So what it's saying here again is identify there are only 2 days in the sun circuit year where the rising and the setting of the sun is very far out in the north or in the south. So there's 2 days of this, y'all. These days are also the dates the sun travels a path that is also an extreme and very long and high above the horizon or very short and low to the horizon. Now that makes sense because when we start observing for the moon, we can see there are times when the moon will rise in the lower part of the horizon. And then there are times where the new crescent moon will rise in the higher part of the horizon. Okay, so this can make some sense here. Let me read the sentence again. These are the days, also the dates the sun travel a path that is also an extreme, very high and low above the horizon, or very short and low to the horizon. These are the days known as the winter solstice. Do y'all hear that? Winter solstice. So we're dealing with those other points again, right? Which occurs around December the 21st, which is the shortest day. Now, keep in mind, these are estimated dates. They do change from year to year. Okay? So this is when the sun is very far out. So it's in that elliptical circuit. Let me finish reading this sentence before I go into the diagram. While the other is called, oddly enough, the summer solstice, and it occurs around June the 21st. That's the estimate date. Of course, you know these days at the beginning of winter and summer, like the dates of the equinoxes. They have really nothing to do with the weather, but with the position of the sun relative to the celestial equator. Okay? So you know the earth has its horizon, right? You know how you go out and you look at the land as a horizon. So when the sun, let me see here. I see here. I'll show y'all the wrong thing. The celestial equator is this black line here. Do y'all see that? Then the celestial north pole is here, and then the celestial south pole is there. The this blue line is the ecliptic. Okay, the ecliptic. So what it's saying that when the sun go around its own circuit, okay, right in here, its own circuit. When it comes to summertime and wintertime, when we look at the solstice, the sun would be out here further. Because remember, the circuit is not like a perfect circle; it's more of a elliptical circuit or a elongated circuit. Okay, so the sun would be way out here, either on this point or either on this point. Okay, and do you see how it's tilted up? So I'm assuming, but I don't want to assume. I guess I need to read the article further. But by us knowing what point of the circuit that the sun is located on, we determine if we're in summer. This is why it gets very hot to the earth. And then if it's in this point, then it would be what winter, which explains why it's very cold on the earth. Because if we didn't have the sun, we would literally die. We would freeze to death. Okay. Just look at what happens at night when the sun go down. And that sun plays a very important role for many other things. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next paragraph. One thing you have to remember about the sun that it makes it very difficult to see anything else in the sky when it's out. Okay, y'all, this is where the part you want to pay attention, because we're gonna get to the part about Mazzaroth. So when the sun is out, which is very true, no other star, not even the moon, cannot shine it. The sun will blind it. Now, during the daytime, Enoch's talked about this. There are times you will see the moon out during the daytime and she will appear like the heavens. Enoch said this himself. This is why when you look at her, she looks just like the clouds, does she not? Okay. So this paragraph said the sun that it makes it very difficult to see anything else in the sky when it's out. Even though the stars and the planet are out there, okay, the brightness of the sun is so overwhelming that you don't have much of a chance of see them until the sun sets. You want to underline that. So the only way you can see these stars and other planets that's out in the heaven is only at sunset. Okay, as far as trying to see them, which makes sense. Like I said, start observing the heavens in the morning time and at sundown, and notice how the other lights begin to appear as it get darker in the sky. Okay, and that's the sun is setting. Which stars will be visible? Which constellation will be visible if we could turn off the sun? That depends upon what time of the year you look. Do y'all hear that? So we have to look at what time of the year in order to see these other stars or these other constellations. If you were to turn the sun down so that you could see the stars at the same time that you could see the sun, you would notice that the sun appears to move slowly towards the east from one day to the next. Do y'all hear that? So the direction of the sun, it moves towards the east in its circuit. Okay? And it says that it moves about 1 degree each day, which makes sense because when you study each star constellation, on the most high count, this is where I put down the degree. Remember, a circle is about what, 360 degrees, right? Let me scroll down here. I'm going to bring this tab so y'all can see it. So when you scroll down the calendar, give it a while. You know how computers are. Okay, finally. Right here. This is why I put the degrees so you know where these signs are located in the heavens. Okay? And I do see an error in one. One should be, let's see. Yeah. This one should be 230, not 180. Somehow the copy and pasting didn't go right. Sagittarius should be around 210. Oh, no, not 210. I'm going to have to go back and correct it because I see Capricorn is around 270. So if that's around 270, then that one should be around 240. So I got to see why. Let me get the correct degree for these signs. Sorry about that, y'all. Because what is going to happen as the sun move across each sign in the eastward direction, it's going to add up to be 360 degrees. Okay. Let me go to earthsky.com because they have it faster. I get all this other stuff that the Gentiles are including. Now, when you go to Yahuwah's calendar on my YouTube channel, the Yahuwah's calendar playlist, it has all the links that you would need to look some of this stuff up, even this article. Okay. Just give a while. You know how the internet is. Especially when you do more than one thing on your laptop. Hold on, while this is still pulling on, I need to pull my curtain because y'all, this sun is no joke. It keeps my place nice and warm. So I'm gonna have to pull these curtains. Okay, finally, let me show y'all this tab. I got to search it. Let's see. This is one of the sites I use when it comes to dealing with the heavens. Earthsky.org. Okay. Also, I use timeanddate.com because it can give you a worldwide report throughout the whole world. And that's very good to know because there are sometimes there are eclipses by the sun and the moon that certain countries may not be able to see because of the geographic location. Okay. However, other countries will be able to see. So that's why I like using time and date as well. And it's going to take a little while. So we're going to be patient while that's pulling up. Okay. To speed things up, this is what I'm going to do. Let me close this tab. So I'm going to close that out. And I'm just going to use, let's see here. Where we go. Let me go back to sharing my screen because I see that tab is dropped. And I'm just going to use my phone so I can look this up right quick. Okay. We are looking at, oh, it's the Google Calendar. Okay. Next thing is, let me look up. Okay. Let's see. Let me go ahead and get the year 2020. Okay, almost getting there, y'all. Okay. All right. Let's see here. So, I'm looking at the right one. Capricorn, they got around about 290. And this around 260. Okay, I see why this is off a little bit. Okay, let me try this to speed things up. So right now, I'm just going to put down 240. Let me go back to the calendar. Okay, I'm going to put down 240. So Sagittarius should be around 240. If that is an area, y'all, please forgive me. And this come back to the calendar to check for any updates that I do make. And so if that's around 240, this should be around 210. It's taking a while, so be patient. So going back to that article, you will learn that each sign in Mazzaroth has a certain position in the heavens. Okay, so we're in the 8th month, which is Bull, and when we look at day 6 of Moon, we had learned last week that the sun entered into the 8th sign, of Mazzaroth. Okay, and the 8th sign. Let me go back so y'all can see that. Let me take my time. Okay, talking about day 6 of the moon. This is when the sun enters the 8th sign of Mazzaroth. And when it enters into the 8th sign of Mazzaroth, it's giving us an idea of what location the sun is in compared to the heavens and within its circuit. Okay, I'm scrolling back. There we go. So the 8th sign of Mazzaroth is known as Scorpio. And Scorpio is located in the 210th degree in the heavens in the circuit. Okay, and what happens on this day, if you look down here where my cursor at, we'll highlight it, that when the sun enters into the 8th sign of Mazzaroth, there is 8 parts of daylight, which is about 11 hours and 20 minutes, and night becomes longer, which is about 12 hours and 40 minutes. So Enoch said that that night is in his 10 parts. Okay. And remember, there might be a slight variation in the timing of this when you actually observe the heavens, or you look this up on timeanddate.com. That's because the earth has shifted, and we ought to talk about that. Okay. While we there now, let me scroll down and see what degree did I have the other signs to see if it's supposed to be at 210. Then I know definitely need to go back and update some stuff. I have to give it a while. My computer running slow. You have to be patient. Okay. So bring it back down. There we go. So when we look at the other ones, we look at that one. When we're looking at the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th sign. Let's see. Okay, now I see what happened. In the 7th sign of Mazzaroth, known as Libra, it is in 180 degrees. So the difference between these 12 signs is about 30 degrees. Okay, 30 degrees, because the sun moves about 1 degree a day. So it moves kind of a little slow. Okay, this is how the sun months are determined. What I'm giving y'all now is to understand how to count for the days of the sun's month. Okay, so the next sign that we are in now, we're in the 8th sign of Mazzaroth. So it is in the 210th degree. Okay, and the 8th sign of Mazzaroth that the Gentile call is Scorpio. So daylight, we have about 8 parts of daylight, and night we have about 10 parts, meaning daylight would be about 11 hours and 20 minutes on that day, and night would be about 12 hours and 40 minutes. Okay, and as each day progresses in the sun's 8th month, you will notice that nighttime will be longer than daylight time. Okay, because we're in winter now. We should be getting ready to rest, to enjoy the fruits of our labors. Okay, so when this happened, this is with every sign. When the sun entered into the 8th sign of Mazzaroth, y'all, that is the sun's last day in its month. For example, when the sun entered into the 8th sign of Mazzaroth on the 6th day of the moon, it became the sun's last day in the 7th month. That you see how it lighted yellow. So for the 7th month of the sun, it had a total of 31 days. Okay. When you look at exact timing, we cannot split that day. This, what I'm giving y'all, is calendar whole days. So in other words, we can't say part of this day is the 7th month and the other part of this day is the 8th month. You can't do that. So by the rules of the heaven, the next day that comes after this, when the sun does this, y'all, will be your first day of that sun's 8th month. Go back and read First Enoch. That's what Enoch is talking about. When the sun rises and sets on that same point for so many days, whether it's 30 days or 31 days, what happened on its last day marks the ending of that sun month. The sun new month will not start until the next day. Okay, so when we look at the equinoxes and we look at the solstice, that's what's indicated unto us. That is that sun's last day in that month. Okay. So what I'm showing you now, I'm showing you how you can count the days of the sun. Very important. Now you see how these two lights work together. Far as the sun and the moon relationship, what the sun does for us. I want to volunteer for the answer. When you look at the sun's relationship to the moon, because you know the moon give us the month, right? That's what it gives unto us. But what does the sun does? What does the sun does for the moon? When we look at the month, in other words, we know when the month begins and ends, but how do we know when the day begins and ends? Not talking about a day. I'm talking about a day that is inclusive of night and daylight. Do I have any volunteers? Don't be shy. Do I have any volunteers? Do I have anyone who want to try to answer that? Because we had learned it a couple weeks in the beginning of Genesis, starting with verse 1 through 5. Well, not verse 1 through 5, but it was the setup for Genesis 1:14. What does the sun do for the moon? See, the moon tell us when the month begin and end. But let me ask y'all this. Can the moon tell us when the day begins and end? Do I have a volunteer to answer that? Can the moon tell us when the day begin and end? Say it again, sis, because this some reason you're breaking up. I don't know why.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, that's
still
better.
breaking up here?
Huh? What you say, sis?
If I'm correct.
You know what? Okay, I don't know why your voice is breaking up with the speaker. But I got to say this right quick. In the name of Yahusha'The Messiah, I bind every spirit of darkness, every child of Satan that is preventing from this word or this truth from going forth. YAH will be done in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, so be it. So hopefully we're going to try again, sis. Some reason the microphone is messing up. I don't know why. Okay, maybe somebody else can come in. When we look at the moon month, can the moon tell us when the day begin and end? Can somebody else come in? Can the moon tell us when the day begin and end? Okay. Say it again, sis. Okay, I see what's going on. I know it's not y'all. This is dealing with Google. Okay. This is dealing with Google because before we had no problems, but we all know what's going on. They don't want this to come out. So I'm going to give them the answer. But I'm feeling what y'all telling me. Y'all saying, no, the moon cannot give us when the day begin and end. Thanks, sis. But right now, Google. Oh, thank you. You came right on in. Okay, say it again for me, Mom. Sis, Sister Audrey, Mother Audrey. Okay. She came through, and I thank you for that. She said the sun, and I know, thanks, sis. You going back on mute now. I heard her just as clear, and the Father allowed it to come through. Okay. She said the sun. And that's why I have a feeling that what Love for All was saying and what Sister Evelyn was saying too as well. Okay. But we all know what's going on. They mad. but they just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, so the sun is what can determine when your day begin and end for the moon. The moon give us the months, but the sun determine when the day begin and end. Okay, thank you, Father, for that. Hallelujah. But so by knowing this is why it's so important that we have the record of the sun too. Because the relationship that the sun has to Mazzaroth is that it tells us when the season begins. It tells us when spring, summer, winter, fall and winter, when they begin and when they end. The relationship to the sun to the moon tell us when the days begin and end. So we cannot separate these lights. These lights are to come together to form his calendar. This is why when we study the holy days and the holy feast days, we cannot label the day as lunar Sabbath, because we don't see nobody saying lunar Passover, because see, the moon plays one part. It gives us the days of the month, but the sun play another part, letting us know when the day of the moon's month begin and end. Then we have Mazzaroth coming in with the sun, letting us know that we have started these feast days in the correct season. For we know Peshat is to be in spring. We know Shavuot, which is Pentecost, is to be in summertime, because that is only when the wheat is ripe for harvest, to bring what a new bread offering unto the Most High Yah that's made with leaven. Then when we look at Feast of Tabernacle, we know it should fall in the season of fall, because it represents the last ingathering, the last harvest that needs to come in, so we can prepare for winter in our time of rest. Tell you, this go deep. All right. So now we are building on the foundation on how to count this. Okay. Now let us go back to the article. All right. So let me pick it up. Let me see. From this part. Which stars would be visible? Which constellation would be visible? If we could turn off the sun, that depends upon what time of the year you look. You were to turn the sun down so that you could see the stars at the same time that you could see the sun. You will notice that the sun appears to move slowly towards the east from one day to the next. It moves about 1 degree each day. In about a month, it has moved 30 degrees, okay, to the east relative to the stars. In 4 months, it will move about 120 degrees east of where it started. And after 1 year, it will have gone about 360. So remember, these are about numbers, because we know the sun month can be from 30 to 31 days. Even I have seen it lesser than that. It can be sometimes 28 or 29 when you get to the winter season. But what it's saying, that when the sun complete its circuit starting in the east direction, it will move about a total of 360 degrees. Now you see why on the calendar I put the degree of each sign, so you know where the sun is located in this elliptical circuit, which will explain why it's hotter in one time of the year, or why it's colder in the other part of the year, and then why it's in between in the mid parts of its year, or in this quarter part of its year. Okay, I want y'all to see that. Okay, let me show you where I'm at. Let me highlight this so y'all can see this. Oh, shucks, y'all. That means it is black. That means it is back where it started from. Remember, I keep telling y'all how the end meets the beginning. The Aleph and Taw, we was talking about the 7 month. We was talking about Tekafah, okay? And we know that the Feast of Tabernacle fall near that time. during the time of Tekafar. Okay, so we have the ending meeting the beginning. Okay, because the sun is going to end its circuit in that month, and then in the next day it's going to start in its new circuit where it's going to start a new beginning. Okay, so as the sun moves slowly in front of various, okay, that, I'm sorry, y'all, let me start over. That means it is back where it started from, since there are 360 degrees in a circle. This also explains why we see different constellation in different seasons. As the sun moves slowly in front of various constellations, those constellations are no longer visible since they are too close to the sun. Underline that for those who have a hard copy. I'm going to say this again. As the sun moves slowly in front of various constellations, that means the 12 signs of Mazzaroth, which is this what the Gentiles call zodiac. Those constellations are no longer visible since they are too close to the sun. Why is that so? Remember, the sun is what? The most powerful light. Nothing can outshine it. What do the sun represent? Does it not represent the Messiah who shall come from the east? He shall be bright as the sun, as written in Matthew 24 and the book of Revelations, chapter 1, as well as many other scriptures. No other light can overpower him or outshine him. This is why it's written in Revelation chapter 22, the Father and the Son will be the brightest light when the new Yahushua come out of heaven and join the earth. They will be the light there. Neither will the sun nor the moon will outshine them in that area. Do you see how everything's connecting? What the carnal represent with the spiritual? Okay, so those constellations are not visible because the sun is going to overpower them. It also goes on to say, but constellations far from them are visible, since they will be visible when the sun has set or before it rises. Underline that. So you can see this in the morning time, and you can see this at sundown. Okay, in the dawn period, in the morning, and at sundown. Underline that. Since they would be visible. So these stars that are visible are the stars that's not blinded by the sun. In other words, the sun is not in that area where those stars are. Okay. Since they will be visible when the sun has set or before it rises. Since the sun appears to move relative to these stars, it will gradually cover up other stars, and other stars that were previously not visible will again be visible. I'm sorry, that was previously not visible will again be visible as the sun gets further away from them. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna read this last paragraph and we're gonna stop there. Okay, actually, the folks in the old days could figure out where the sun would be relative to the stars by looking at the stars which were visible when the sun set. So they knew what constellation the sun was in, either at morning time or at sundown, especially at sundown. So they knew what constellation the sun was in. Yes. Let me see who's speaking, because you may have to call my cell phone because right now the speaker is messed up. Call my cell phone, sis, because I can't hear you. Yeah, call my cell phone, sis, because I can't hear you. I'm gonna put a text in because right now, y'all, Google is not allowing us um for y'all to speak. So y'all gonna have to call my cell phone because right now what the audience is hearing is just y'all. It's just a lot of noise. So I'm gonna text here. I'm texting the sister now. Okay. So our ancestors could look and see where the sun was located at, and also they can look and see what star constellation the sun was in. And you see here, especially at sunset. Hello, Moto. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Shalom, hold on. I'm in the middle of a class. Hold on. Okay, I got them on mute. Oh, hold on. I got to step away because I'm filming the class too. Hold on. Okay. Whoever was speaking, then you're going to have to call my cell phone, sis. Okay. Because right now Google is not cooperating with us. Okay. I mean, I hope y'all hearing what I'm saying. Y'all going to have to call my cell phone. Call my cell phone.
Thank you.
Okay. So right now I have to mute y'all because right now Google's not cooperating. Okay. I just unmuted myself, y'all, but call my cell phone. Because right now I can't hear anything y'all saying. I cannot hear anything. Google's not cooperating. So just call my cell phone. Okay. All right. Well, I'm waiting for somebody to call in. Let's get back to this article. They knew which constellation the sun covered up, and when they were covered up, which time of the year were or were not visible. If you were to make a map of the path of the sun relative to the stars, you would see it as a curved line on the celestial sphere. Take a look at figure 1 to see the path relative to the celestial equator. That means heavenly equator, y'all. This image is of a flattened out celestial sphere. Let me call again. Okay. Huh? Yeah, I can hear you. I got feedback though. Hold on. You said y'all can't hear me. Okay. Oh, the article link is in the group text. No, what I'm saying is the article link is in the group text. So on her phone, she can click on it. Yeah. Tell her it's in the group text. She can hear you. Okay. All right. Shalom. Yeah. Right now I can't hear you, mother, because of Google. I cannot hear you. You're gonna have to call me on phone. Okay. But the article for the group that is on Google Meet, I put the link in the group text in that comment box, y'all. Okay. That's what I did. I put the link in the group text so y'all would have, so you can pull it up. Because I know right now with the Google screen that you'll see over here, you may not be able to see it well. Okay, so if you go to your text box where I have in the group text for us, there's the article link. It'll say, you go back to the group text that I have for y'all. It'll say it's under the picture of the sheep. Okay, the picture of the sheep said what? Welcome to the family. Shalom, the family of Yah, etc., etc., giving you the time and date. And then it said, please remember to review and print out handout on Sun Motion. So when you see that link there, click on that link. Okay? All right. Okay, let me see here. If you were to map out and see the path of the sun to the stars, you would see it as a curved line on the celestial sphere. Take a look at figure 1 to see the relative path to the celestial equator. The image is of a flattened out celestial sphere, and the dates mark the location of the sun relative to the stars over the course of the year. Okay? So that's what it's basically saying, that if you would go out and observe the heavens and you will map it out, it's the way you can map it out on paper, you would get a curvy line. That's what they're saying, a curvy line, which is this figure here. And we're going to stop there for today. So what we need to do as a group, and let me show y'all this. I need to show y'all this. Because it's going to be for our homework. This is one way you can cheat to make it easier for beginners. Okay? Let me see here. I'm going to go here for my group in the Google Meet. What was going to put? We are in Scorpio. Okay. But I'm going to use another star constellation example because this one, I know about one of the stars in this constellation because this one forms the East Star that's written in the book of Matthew. So we're going to look at the star constellation for Leo. Each star constellation has certain stars that are very bright and that would stand out. And when you're familiar with these stars that makes up these constellations, then you know how to identify in the heavens. Okay, let me see here. Yep, this is what I'm almost what I'm talking about. Let me see here. List of stars in Leo. Here we go. So here's a picture of Leo. That's what Leo looks like in the heavens without you connecting, if you didn't connect the dots. But this is what Leo would look like in the heavens. Okay. This is on the Wikipedia site. And if you see here, it says see also list of stars in Leo. So this is, you can click on this link here, and it's going to list the stars in the constellation I don't know, I think it said from the brightest or from the least to the brightest. So it lists all these stars that's in Leo. And what you want to pay attention is to, the brightest star. That's how you can identify these constellations if you're familiar with their brightest star. For example, I know off the top of my head, one of the brightest star is Regulus. How I know about this star, because when I was studying about the East Star, I learned that this star aligned up with the planet Jupiter. Regulus represent the King of Kings, which represent the Messiah, and Jupiter represent the planet of righteousness, which represent our Father Yahuwah. When you're dealing with, I think it's the prophet Jeremiah when he say he is the righteousness. Okay, so when these two stars align up together, or planet with the star line up together, it formed the brightest star known as the East Star that the wise men used to find the Messiah. Okay. Just again, the heaven manifest the sign. It's the billboard. It is the billboard, and it tells us when the Messiah was born. So when you study about that, you will learn that he was born in the fall. He's not born in the spring. He's born in the fall. This is why it's written in the book of Luke that he was about 30 years of age, because he had a day of birth coming up, and that was in the I think, I can't remember what year of reign Tiberius reigned, but see, Tiberius didn't start reigning. In other words, he didn't come to that position until in the fall, somewhere between September to October. That's when he came to reign in that position as Caesar. So when you learn about that, that's how you know that he was born in the fall. Again, the signs manifested, and they give us the message, and then the earth play it out. Okay, so by knowing the stars in each constellation and identifying what is the brightest star that you see here, it lists all of them, then you would know what constellation the sun is in. Wikipedia, y'all. And then earthsky.org. Earthsky.org. So as you see here, when I click on that link, it's going to show it. It says it's going to list the stars in Leo. I know it said from the brightest. I guess from the brightest to the least brightest. See, yeah, sorted by decreasing brightness. So it's going to start with the brightest star, and then it's going to give you the last star that's not so bright. Okay, very important to know. What I also like about Wikipedia, it gives you the picture of what that constellation should look like in the heavens right here. Okay, now we're going to look at Scorpio. Okay, just want to make sure that my tab is recording, so it's still recording. So now we're going to look at Scorpio. That's the constellation we're in now. So with Scorpio, let me see, they give us a picture. Oh, they give us no picture. Here you go. Astronomy and astrology. We need to click on this one. It says spans about 210 to 240 degrees. So yeah, it gives us the degree location. Let me go back. This is the astrology part of it. I need the constellation. This is what we want. We want the constellation of it. And this is a perfect example. I say you would see part of astrology and astronomy, because this is the part that would give us the degree. Okay. When we go to astronomy, as you see in this brief description here, we don't get the information on degree. So there are times you have to go on the other side just to get part of the information you're trying to find, because the heathens don't really separate it out correctly. Okay. All right. So here we have a picture of what Scorpio will look like in the heavens. Those stars when you connect the dots. Okay. Again, this take time. So what this is saying, that when the sun is in this constellation, y'all, we should not be able to see these stars. So if we're not able to see these stars, okay, let me see. Let's go to the next constellation. The constellation that we should see is I'm trying to think what's before Scorpio. Let me go back to my calendar. Let me see if it tells me out here. Okay. The constellation before Scorpio is what? Libra. And the constellation beside it is Sagittarius. So when the star, or when the sun is in Scorpio constellation, the only stars we should see to the left or to the right of the sun as it going down at sunset is Libra and Sagittarius. So let's see what are the brightest star for Sagittarius. Let's see where I can find it at. It said the brightest star for Sagittarius is KAUS, Australis. Australis. Okay. Again, this take practice. This is what Sagittarius look like in the heavens. Okay. And as you go further down this article, it should be a link, or it should be within the article to identify those bright stars. Okay. So you would see this constellation as the sun is going down. This constellation should be, and hopefully I'm telling this right to y'all, Sagittarius should be to the right of the sun when it goes down. Okay. So if Sagittarius to the right, the left one should be what? Libra, right? Libra is the scale that falls in the 7th month of the Most High calendar. Okay. So let's click on Libra. And this is what Libra look like in the heavens. So again, as the sun is going down, to our left, we should see Libra to the left of it. Okay. And the brightest star in Libra is, this is the list of noble stars in the constellation Libra sorted by decreasing brightness. So the brightest star in Libra is this one here. It's B. Well, it looked like a B, y'all, but it's a symbol. Lib. Okay. That's the name of that star. So as you go down the list, these stars will be decreasing in light. They won't be as bright as that first star. I recommend for those who have a printer to print this stuff out as you're learning the stars. It's going to take time. All right. It's not going to happen overnight. Again, one of my favorite sites to use is earthsky.org and time and date. I need to type that in the list here in Google Documents. Put down the link that y'all have for that one. So y'all can look up Scorpio and get familiar with its stars. Don't get so hung up much on the name, but just get familiar with their stars. Okay. And I'm going to put in earthsky.org. It's a good site. And then time and date. is another good site. I don't know why it's not going in blue. Okay. I guess it's doing its own thing. All right. So y'all have, for my Google people, I can attach this document to you. Just let me know, and I can send the link as well. Okay. So we're gonna stop here. So your homework is to practice and going out identifying the stars that you see. I recommend do both in the morning and at sunset, especially at sunset, because we see that this article put an emphasis at sunset, identifying the stars that you see in the west. Then you will get familiar what constellation the sun is in. Remember, when the sun is in that star constellation, you won't be able to see its stars. Okay, but when we look to the right and to the left, we can identify what constellation it is on the right side, on the left side. So by the process of elimination, what we have learned that Scorpio, let me go back to this tab. What we have learned is that what Scorpio is in between Libra, and Sagittarius. And forgive me for my pronunciation, my tongue get a little lazy. Okay, and this is how we know what sign the sun is in Mazzaroth. So we got some homework to do. We got to practice, y'all. Okay, practice make perfect. Okay, remember there are things you can get from bookstores, like charts, to help you understand about the star constellations. So when you go out in the heavens and you look at the stars, you can identify what star it is, or you should be able to identify what constellation it is, such as Big Dipper, Little Dipper. What's that three-pointed stars with this triangle with the hunter, Osiris? You know, those things. Okay. Then it tells us what time of the year is. If you know the star constellation, as far as when the sun is in that constellation, then you know what time of the year it is, such as you'll know when it's spring, when it's summer, when it's fall, and when it's winter. Okay. I hope y'all enjoy this session that we have. I know this is not one of the easiest pieces to learn when it comes to the Most High Counter, because again, we have not been taught these things, nor even in our education system, they don't really elaborate on these things. This is something that you have to seek out and allow the Spirit of Yah to teach you on this. Okay, so I do know this is a hard pill to swallow, but at least we have the foundation or the tools to use to learn these things. Okay, because pretty soon the Father's going to take away our delights. Okay, we've been spoiled, y'all. We've been dependent on technology to tell us when it's time, but the Father's taking us back to Torah, and He gave us the time indicators. So those who, want to say, I know you're still learning. I know this feels different to you, but look at it like this. This is with heavenly sense now. When you go out to the wilderness to camp, whether it's in the desert or where it's in the forest, you know, there you have no internet. Now, some may take a watch, but we're going to be a little more realistic. We say you're going back to the basics. So you decide to take no watch, no cell phone, nothing. You just going in and you're going to rough it hard. Okay. So when you're out there, what are you going to use? And I'm going to tell you what you're going to use. You're going to use what the Most High created, what He gave unto Adam, what He gave unto mankind, and that was His lights. These lights was made for us to understand how to tell time, also to understand when the day beginning in, when the year beginning in, also to know what season we are in. Because without what He made for us, this is the Most High creation, we would be lost. See, the Father don't need this because He understood what time was. Go back to Genesis 1 and 5 and you'll see it. The Father knew what part was evening, what part was morning, and what made a day unto Him. See, the Father ought to knew this. But we are Adam, we are made in His image, and we're on a smaller level from Him. So He gave us time indicators to understand time, which is very important. So because without this, without understanding Yahuwah's calendar that's based off the heavens, not just based off the moon, and this is why you don't hear me say lunar, it's based off the heavens. So by understanding this, that is based off the heavens, then you can begin to understand the biblical prophecies. Then you're going to understand the correct month in the days of Noah when the flood came, and why the 8th month is named the month of judgment. It is also the month that the sower start to plant his seed, okay, in the earth. And it falls on the heathens month between October to November. Okay. So you begin to see why this is so important, because everything that the Father has made and has instructed us to follow is all connected, so we can see the bigger picture. So we're gonna close this section out. This session out. We thank you for watching the video, and for those who like to attend and fellowship with us, call 919-972-8970. For we are family. This is not about a group or anything. This is about us coming together who are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth and to connect to one another. Continue to preach that salvation. To continue to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, because it's truly at hand. We have now got the results of the election, and when I heard it, my stomach cringed, because people don't understand what is coming, but in time they will. In time they will. So I know the election results have came out, and continue to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha'The Messiah. For the Lamb set the example of the water baptism. Now, if you have no one to baptize you, remember, the building is not the church. You are the temple. You are the tabernacle yard. You are the place of assembly, the church, in other words. So you can go in your bathroom or wherever there is water, and you can baptize yourself. Remember, the water is the second witness in the earth, and the Father has poured His Spirit upon all His creations. So the water can make a testimony or testify on your behalf. Yes, they have entered into the new marriage, which is the new covenant, which is the New Testament. All right, we're going to close out in prayer. And because of the speaker, I'm just going to close us out in prayer. Let us face the east to the women. We must cover our heads when we pray. And to our brethren, we must uncover our heads. Okay. So let us face the east, and you can either stand up or kneel, whatever. And let us pray and close this out. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Father, we come before you this day. Father, thank you for this lesson, this word. I know this was a hard pill to swallow today. This was a little more deep, and it seemed complex, but I know through your spirit, you can make what is complex so easy to understand. And this is what I pray for my brothers and sisters who want to understand how the sun worked with Mazzaroth to give us the season, and also who wants to understand how to count the days of the sun for its month. So we ask that you give us your understanding on this. Help us, Father, as we go out to observe your heavens. Father, we also pray that your will and your truth will continue to go forth throughout the four corners of the earth, and that those who are yours will hear and see what your spirit say and receive your will and your truth. And Father, we also want to pray that you forgive us for our sins. For Father, because when we learn Torah, we learn that we are sinning every day. So we ask that you forgive us for our sins. Father, please forgive us in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And anything that we have not prayed in this prayer, such as for those who was not able to attend but want to attend, Father, make it so that they can the next time. And for those who are not able to attend, Father, bless this recording that they will get a hold of it. Because it's time for your people to hear what you have to say. And anything else I have not prayed in this prayer, Father, I ask that you fulfill according to your will. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, so be it.